Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. It is Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of, you've guessed it, Success Started series. Y'all know we go live each and every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about different topics all around the ultimate topic of helping you to set your week up for success. Because in setting your week up for success, you can do the work to set your life up for success. It is the last Sunday in the month of August. So we've been talking this month about back to success routines, kind of in honor of August being back to school for most schools within the state or within the U.S. And so with that, we've been kind of talking about how using that back to school mindset can help us to get back to our routines. And so we're going to finish out the month, because y'all know how I do. The last week of each month is all about me prepping for the month ahead. And so as we're prepping for the month of September and ending the month of August, I want to talk to you guys about back to success, reclaiming your routine, and doing so like a boss, because we're all bosses in whatever capacity we own. Because, you know, as your productivity and accountability coach, I'm all about helping you to find that hidden time in your day, time that you can use to pour back into yourself to pursue your goals, your purpose, your life passions, while still maintaining those current responsibilities without the stress, without the overwhelm, all the things. And so today I want to dive into this topic and kind of help you to understand some of the problems maybe that you've been experiencing and what the solutions are to that. Because as we go through life, as we go through the day, as we go through, we want to make sure that we're putting ourselves in the position to win. And when it comes to reclaiming your routine, you have to find and establish a routine that works for you. Because it doesn't matter what I do, because if what I do doesn't work for you, it doesn't matter. Just like it doesn't matter to me what you do if what you do doesn't work for me. And so when it comes to reclaiming your routine, it's all about finding what it is that works for you. Y'all know I don't advocate for a one-size-fits-all approach. Even though I do one-on-one coaching, I do it because I want to be able to help you to understand what it is that works for you. What have you tried? What has worked? What hasn't? Why did this work? Why did this not work? To be able to find that perfect balance and that perfect routine ultimately and schedule that's going to work for you. Because productivity isn't complicated. Productivity shouldn't be complicated. And in order to simplify productivity and help you to create and craft a routine that works for you, it's all about understanding what it is that works for you. And so when we talk about reclaiming this routine, I want to talk to you a little bit about the idea of this fresh start. And I know we're not in September yet, and that doesn't mean I'm counting the month of August out. But I want you to look at and think about how back to school time is like that perfect reset for kids. We're, helping them to get these new school supplies, clothes, shoes, helping them to what are your goals for this year? Don't worry what happened last school year. You're transitioning grades, you're transitioning potential schools from, elementary to middle to high school to college. What does this fresh start look like for them? Helping them to see that this is something new. And so each day is a fresh start in reality. Each month, each week is a fresh start. But if we use the idea and embrace this idea of a fresh start, it can be the thing that you can utilize to help you to reset, to get that new energy and use that new energy to work to your advantage. Because right now you might feel stressed out and overwhelmed. But I want you to have this fresh start where you let go of the stress and where you let go of the stress and you let go of the overwhelm. Because right now you might feel like, I got to do all these things. All these people need me. All these things. I have all these responsibilities. And the reality is you're going to still continue to have all these responsibilities. But how are you delegating? How are you showing up? How are you prioritizing in the midst of that? Because if you understand the reality of we grown, we adults, we got a lot to do, we got a lot of things we got to do. But the beauty is that as adults, we get to make choices. It's not dictated to us. And so in making the choices, you have to make the choices that are right for you. So embrace the idea of a fresh start. Let go of the stress. Let go of the overwhelm. Let's work to figure out what things have caused you to be stressed and what things have caused you to be overwhelmed in the past, so that we can work on fixing those specific things, so that as we go into a new week and as we wind down this month and prepare for the next month ahead, let's understand where was the stress, where was the overwhelm, what were the things that were working and what things weren't, so that we don't continue to create and repeat these same habits and cycles. Because what is insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We're not doing that. And so once you can And so, yeah, once you can embrace the idea of this fresh start by letting go of the overwhelm and understanding it's your time to reset and refresh, let's work on establishing new habits. Because if we're having this fresh start, we need some new habits. Because what did I just say insanity was? Oh, okay. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting new results. So let's establish new habits. So when it comes to creating and maintaining habits, we want to keep the things that have been working and to get rid of or tweak or adjust the things that haven't been. If you see that day in and day out, you're not able to do this thing, what needs to give? Like, as adults, we got to go to work. Even if you work for yourself, there's still some responsibility that you have to have and places you have to be at specific and set times. And so in order to do that, like I'm going to use me for an example. Yeah, I know I get up at 2:30 in the morning and I try to go to bed around 8:30-ish. Really, I don't go to bed at 8:30. 8:30-ish is my like wind down time to get into bed. But I'm normally in bed between like 8:45 and 9. But I noticed that some mornings I struggled to wake up at 2:30 when my alarm went off. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? Like, I'm in bed at the same time, but what am I doing when I'm in bed? Am I still on the phone? Am I still scrolling social media, playing these puzzle games on my phone? And so because of that, I kind of started trying to track, like, okay, what is the ebb and flow that's causing this pattern? Like, I added softball in, so sometimes coming home from softball, that meant my wind down time wasn't, like, I didn't have as much lead time to wind down because with it being daylight out longer, sometimes we're finishing softball practice at 8 something, so then by the time I get home, it's like 8:20-ish, and then now I still got to do my nighttime routine, talk to y'all on stories and all the things to get ready for bed. And so I instituted a bedtime, essentially, for myself. Like, I've always had the bedtime, but now it's 8:45, I'm off social media. 9:15, I'm off my phone. Typically, between that 8:45 and 9:15 time, I'm in the bed. Typically, after that 8:45 time, because I'm off social media, I'm in bed. Sometimes even before that. But that's just to make sure I have my deadline, to make sure I've talked to y'all on stories and things like that. And by 9:15, it's whatever game you playing, cut it off, put it up. And oftentimes, it's more along that 9 p.m. time, but I'm giving myself till 9:15 because I like to be able to wind down. So if I'm coming home late from softball or work, if I'm in trial, I still want this little bit of lead time on my phone because I go to bed early and depending on what kind of day I'm having at work, I'm not necessarily being able to check in on social media and kind of see what's going on. And so that's a new habit that I've established. Like, I've had the bedtime, but being more firm in what does the bedtime look like has been beneficial to me. So it's a habit that I've established officially throughout the month of August, and it's something I'm going to continue in the month of September. And I've noticed that in the past, I've done these like off social media about this, that, or the third, but then I wasn't playing some of the puzzle games back in and things like that. So like now that I'm seeing these things, I've noticed how when my alarm goes off, I'm not snoozing. I get up with no issues. I'm not having those problems of being tired in the morning. Yes, I probably could still keep sleeping at 2:30. Who couldn't? But in terms of like in the past where I was truly tired, like yawning, falling asleep doing my morning routine, because part of my morning routine is like reading my devotional and stuff like that. So I'm sitting in the bed doing it. I will fall asleep during the middle of it. But you have to figure out what things have been working for you. Like, okay, going to bed on time is working for me. Me implementing this social media cutoff, this puzzle game, or my game time cutoff has been working for me. That's something I'm going to continue in the month of September and going forward. What are some things that might not have been quite working? Me trying to have an earlier time, like an 8:30 time or something like that, wasn't really working because of softball. And so making those adjustments in that. And so when it comes to you, what habits or routines have you been utilizing or implementing or trying to implement that have been working? And what ones have not? Because once you understand that, you can utilize that to get that focus. Because one of the problems you might see is that you might find it hard to focus. Like, I found it hard to wake up in the morning because some of the habits that I was having wasn't beneficial to me. If your attention is scattered, if you're not focused, if you're trying to bounce between work, your personal life, your business, and everything in between, or even if you're at work and you're trying to bounce between task to task and thing to thing, or you're at home and you're trying to bounce between washing dishes, meal prepping, watching TV, or you're working on your business and you're trying to bounce between responding to emails, prepping content, and responding to messages. Focus. I was talking yesterday about how I've been using my focus timer. Like, I have this focus timer, and it helps me to make sure that I do a focused amount of work like each day. And with the focus timer, I've been setting like mini timers to like, okay, this is my social media content creation time. So like I try to batch create my content over the weekend. So like outlining my content, understanding what it is that I need to do. If I need to record videos, record my reels. Not necessarily the editing part. I still typically do that throughout the week. But if I have time, sometimes I'll do that on the weekend as well or get a jump on it. And so with that, like I would set like say a 10-minute timer. Because now that I see that it don't take me that long to record content, because oftentimes I would be recording content or working on content, but I'll be bouncing between 17,000 different things. Like I would get stuck scrolling on reels, trying to find a reel that I want to recreate, or going through my drafts, deleting, decluttering, editing this, doing that. But when I decided to create these like mini focus sessions within the bigger focus session, i.e. this is my hour to work on content. I'm going to use this 10 minutes to record my content for the week. This 10 minutes to outline my content. This 10 minutes to get it organized like in Asana. This 10 minutes to do X number of things. This 10-15 minutes to work on my post for the day. And I'm more than welcome to reset that timer and keep working for those 10 minutes. But like my recording time, I can record everything I need to record in 10 minutes. 15 at the max. Like getting everything set up and organized day by day, like creating my little headers for the week, I can do that in 10 minutes. Working on a post, sometimes that takes me more than 10 minutes, especially because my Saturday posts are typically carousel, so I have to, get the graphics, get the words on the graphics, and make sure that everything makes sense and spelled and all the things. So when it comes to that focus, because I'm clear on what my priorities are during my content creation time, for example, and during the time of me breaking down that hour into 10-15 minute block, I'm clear on what it is that I'm focusing on and what my priority is. I'm able to cut through that noise and I'm able to get focused. So as you're working on establishing these new routines, it's time for you to create routines that are going to help you to get back focused so that you aren't distracted, you aren't bouncing from thing to thing, and you're able to focus on what it is you're trying to do and what it is you're trying to have. Because we're talking about reclaiming routines. So when you have that fresh start, because you've embraced this idea of a fresh start, you want to reclaim this routine by having these habits that are going to actually work. And then most importantly, you got to stay motivated, because discipline is going to be there when motivation isn't. Motivation is going to be there to help you and to keep you moving. Now, you have to stay motivated in terms of keeping your routine consistent, because consistency is going to build a discipline, and that discipline is going to build a motivation. And you have to have like these three things. And so I know sometimes I speak about motivation, but really it might be discipline that you need, or consistency. But I kind of put all three of them together. I understand they're three different words. I understand they mean three different things. But when I think about motivation, I also think about consistency and discipline, because sometimes you're not going to be motivated, but you're disciplined enough to do it. And the discipline comes from being consistent. And then once you finish that thing, oftentimes you find that motivation, because you know that if I do this workout, I might not want to, but when I finish it, I feel good. And so now that gives you that motivation to continue to show up, to continue to be consistent and be disciplined. So I understand that those are three different words that mean three different things, but I like to talk about them together because I want you to be able to build the discipline, the consistency, and that motivation. And that's kind of why. So when it comes to like staying motivated, you have to be consistent in the routine that you're creating, because you have this fresh start. You motivated, you invigorated, you doing what it is you need to do. You have these new habits, and you're creating and establishing these new habits that actually work for you. So now we're able to be motivated, be consistent, be disciplined. It's time to do the work. Because in the past, you've been inconsistent. That's why we have to keep having this fresh start. That's why we have to keep working on these new habits. That's why, even for myself, like I said, I noticed in the past, I've done these challenges to where I got off of social media or things like that at certain times. But then maybe in this season of my life, that doesn't work. Like being off my phone by 8 doesn't work if I have softball and I'm here or there for longer times. And so that was something that wasn't working for me, and I knew that wasn't going to be realistic, so that I created something that was going to work for me. And so now I'm able to be consistent and disciplined with it. Because it's funny, because like I'll be doing something, I'm like, oh, it's 8:14, I got to get off, or oh, I'm almost done with this puzzle game, like it's 9:15 or 9:14, it's time to get off. Hey, who we got? Dr. Michaela, how are you? And so when it comes to that motivation, that discipline, and consistency, you have to let go of inconsistency. Like I said, you've been inconsistent in the past. Your habits have been inconsistent. And because of that inconsistency, it's been hard to maintain any real momentum to help you to make that progress towards your goals. Because of that inconsistency, you haven't been disciplined. You've been inconsistent. And because of that, you've likely lacked motivation, which is why you haven't continued to show up and do the thing. But instead, if you have simple but consistent habits that aren't opposite ends of the extreme, example, me talking about the 8 p.m. getting off the phone time. That wasn't something that I can maintain in the long run, because if I'm in trial, something still at work, I want to decompress. Part of me being on social media is my business, like me talking to y'all in stories. So I had to create things that would help me, that I can stay on track, typically no matter what the situation. It's rare that I might not be home at 8:45 from a trial, but the judge, typically by 8 o'clock, 7:45, 8 o'clock is normally they cut off time to let the jury go. So that might mean I might have to record my story in the car on the drive, like while I'm sitting in the cup holder or at a red light or something like that. But it's something that 99% of the time I'm able to stick with this deadline, because your girl also be tired. So I don't be trying to be on the phone because I'm actually sleepy. I'm ready to go to bed. And so when you talk about motivation, discipline, and consistency, that's how you can combine them together and talk about them or look at them together. But when you let go of that inconsistency, that's going to then build that discipline and help you to stay motivated. And by having these, like I said, these simple, these small things that you can do and that you can commit to, because again, we're establishing new habits that work. We are taking the things that worked and continuing them, or making the slight adjustments or tweaks that we need to maybe make for this season. And we're letting go of those things because insanity, we not here with insanity or inconsistency. We're letting go of the things that haven't worked, and instead we're focusing on being consistent. And so I want you to get back to success. I want you to be successful. I want you to have success and have this for life. Understanding that success is going to look differently, and each season is going to look differently, and all of the things. But if you're looking for that one-on-one support and guidance to help you to truly walk through being consistent, establishing your back to success routine so that you can reclaim your routine like the boss that you are, I'm here to help. You can comment, plan, or you can head to the link in bio and we can have a conversation about what this will look like for you. It's time for you to kind of craft and create your ideal schedule, your ideal flow, your ideal routine, so that you can have what it is that you need to get to where it is that you're looking to go in life. And so for today, that's really what I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to talk to you about getting back to success, reclaiming your routine by letting go of the overwhelm, letting go of that lack of focus, letting go of those inconsistent habits, and instead embracing the reset, getting clear on your priorities, and building and establishing habits that stick. You can do this. You can do it alone, or you can do it with help. You've tried doing it alone, and I'm not saying that alone won't work, but you need some kickstart, motivation, discipline, consistency, all the things to help you to get to what it is that works for you. You've been struggling and trying to figure out like what works, what doesn't, why doesn't this. Get the help of someone who can help you to truly figure that out. In 6 weeks of one-on-one coaching, we can figure out what it is that hasn't worked for you in the past, what has, and we can work on building you your own back to success routine, your own system and schedule that you can utilize to show up, to be consistent, to have your fresh start, to get these habits that are going to work and stick, and that will help you through accountability to stay motivated and to stay disciplined and keep showing up. But it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of You've Guessed It, the Success Starter series. You can comment, plan below or head to the link in the bio. Let's have a conversation and let's help you get back to success. As we end the month of August and walk into the month of September, it's time for you to have the support and accountability that you need to help you to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and help you to get to where it is you're looking to go. So until next week, and until we walk into the month of September together, it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of the Success Starter series. Until next week, Coach Lee is out.